Hi everybody! Today we'll take a look at the ground vehicles available in War Thunder Tier 6 of the Italian Tech Tree. We will specifically talk about the light tanks and tank destroyers. If you want to see vehicles of the previous tiers, click on the right upper corner. Today we start with the B1 Centauro Pre-Serie, known in-game as the Centauro Uno 105. You can find this vehicle at Tier 6 at BR 8.7. It has a 4-man crew, commander, driver, gunner and loader. Its all armor is 35mm thick for the lower glacis, 15mm for the upper glacis, while the turret front is 25mm and the gun mantlet is 40mm. It is armed with the 105mm Automelara 105-52 cannon, one coaxial and one roof-mounted 7.62mm Breda MG42-59 machine gun. The main gun is able to fire the M456 ITFS high-explosive anti-tank fin-stabilized shell, the M393A2 HESH high-explosive squash-head shell, the M416 smoke shell, the M735 and the M23 APFSDS armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot shot. In the 1980s, the Italian army gave a set of specifications for a new light vehicle with the same firepower as the Leopard 1 in service at the time, but with greater mobility. In 1986, the prototype built by Fiat, Iveco and Automelara was showed in Sardinia. The vehicle impressed the army, that placed an order, with the first vehicle entering service in 1992. The Centauro took part in most of the major conflicts that defined the 90s and early 2000s, most notably in Yugoslavia, Somalia, Iraq, Afghanistan and other. Next up is the B1 Centauro Romar, known in-game as the Centauro Uno 105R. You can find this vehicle at Tier 6 at BR 9.0. It has a 4-man crew, commander, driver, gunner and loader. Its whole armor is 35mm thick for the lower glacis, 15mm for the upper glacis, while the front of the turret is 25mm and the gun mantlet is 40mm. This model has additional Romar ERA, explosive reactive armor, packages along the side of the hull and the turret. It is armed with the same 105mm Automelara 105-52 cannon, one coaxial and one roof-mounted 7.62mm Breda MG42-59 machine gun as the previous model. The main gun is able to fire the M456 ITFS high-explosive anti-tank fin-stabilized shell, the M393A2 HESH high-explosive squash-head shell, the M416 smoke shell, the M735 and the M33 APFSDS armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot shot. This vehicle represents a Centauro Serie Uno that was upgraded in 1993 in Somalia with the Romar A packages made by the British Royal Ordnance. This gave the vehicle more protection against heavy machine gun and autocannon fire, as well as against IT ammunition and rocket-propelled grenade. The last light tank of the tier is the VCC 8060. You can find this vehicle at Tier 6 at BR 9.0. It has a 3-man crew, commander, driver and gunner. Its all armor is mainly 72mm thick on the front, while the front of the turret is mainly 40mm. The turret has additional composite screens that can give up to 400mm of protection against chemical rounds. Its effectiveness is drastically lower against kinetic shots. It is armed with the 60mm Cannone da 60-70 and one coaxial 7.62mm Breda MG42-59 machine gun. The main gun is able to fire the M300 APFSDS armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot shot, the Auto HE high-explosive shell and the Auto HE-VT explosive variable time fuse shell. During the 80s, Iveco and Automelara decided to collaborate to create new multi-role vehicles in the hope of creating interest in the Italian army and the export market. This vehicle never went past the prototype phase, but it was partially successful because the hull would become the base of the Dardo, that would eventually be picked up by the Italian army. The version of the VCC-80 in-game is the one that received a special version of the T-60A turret, that contained an autoloader for the main gun, capable of firing a shot every 2 seconds, and was armed with a special composite screen. The last vehicle for today is the CCDardo, that stands for Veicolo da Combattimento Dardo. You can find this vehicle at tier 6 at BR 9.3. It has a 3-man crew, commander, driver and gunner. Its hull armor is 25 plus 8mm thick for the upper glacis, 50 plus 22mm for the lower glacis, while for the front of the turret is 40 plus 52mm and the gun mantlets is 25 plus 25mm. It is armed with the 25mm Oerlikon KBA B02 autocannon, one coaxial 7.62mm Breda MG42-59 machine gun and 2 tow launchers. The main gun is able to fire APDS armor-piercing discarding sabot, HE-IT high-explosive incendiary tracer, and APFS-DS armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot rounds arranged in different belts. The tow launchers use the TOW-2 ATGM anti-tank guided missile and the TOW-2B top attack ATGM. The Dardo had a troubled development history that started in the 80s. The vehicle went through different projects and prototypes with different sites and systems tried on board. The contract for the production became reality after extensive testing in 1988, with the last production vehicle delivered in the early 2000s. The vehicle received close to 0 upgrades during the years, with the only major one coming in 2005, where the Italian army decided to buy the TOW-2A and B to replace the older versions, and to produce under license the BPM-09 25mm APFS-DS rounds.